We are still on the topic of dealing with the pressures around other people feeling really defensive and things like that, hyper competitiveness and things like this. And I shared yesterday's video that had to do with providing the historical context of why this kind of culture originated in East Asia or Asia in general. And I got reply from the original question person who asked the question. And today I want to talk about that, the response. The response is like this. This is exactly right. Following the war, my grandfather became a strong supporter of capitalism, parentheses, President Park. So for all the non-Koreans out here, President Park is kind of like he's a figure with a very mixed review, so to speak. He was the proponent for a lot of capitalism-driven changes. So through his presidency, Korea advanced a lot in terms of economic growth. But he was a dictator and became a very, very dictator-y kind of a dictator longer down the line. And then eventually he got assassinated. So very kind of a hot potato kind of a figure. But anyway, the original poster's grandfather was a strong supporter of capitalism, which is understandable, right? And this is sort of similar to why a lot of Chinese people have loyalty for the Communist Party because they know what the before the war and the after the war is, and they largely attribute it to the success of the Communist Party. Because of the party, everyone gets to live a decent life compared to before. So something is like that is very similar in China and Korea. And quite okay, so now continuing on, and quite literally fought his way up to the top 1% from nothing. You can imagine the pressure my father underwent, and he too was a nationally ranked student until he went for a career path my grandfather opposed. He came to America for a fresh start because he wasn't accepted to a top 3 university unlike my grandfather, but did well as an immigrant. So, again, if you don't know Korean culture, it goes a little bit like this. Korea has one SAT per year. So, if you're a high school senior, you take that one SAT, and the grades of this one SAT get to determine whether you go to college or not. And when you don't, you wait one more year and you take the SATs again. So, a lot depends on this one test, right? And everyone's goal is the top 3 schools. And the first one is Seoul National University. This is kind of at the top. This is where all the Korean geniuses go to. And then, as two sides, right? There's Korea University and Yonsei University, which they have a very big rivalry between them. So some people get upset when they mention Korea University first. So they'll always say, no, it's not that order. It's Yonsei University first and Korea University second. Anyway, these are the top 3 Korean universities, and when you get into them, your life is just kind of set because Korea is very largely about that name brand value. But anyway, the original poster's father did not get into one of these universities and wanted a career that's the grandfather didn't support, and so he came to America and did well as an immigrant. Now continuing again. This is comically stereotypical, but while first generation students are rightfully celebrating their achievements, I sometimes wonder if I'll live up to my family name, lol. And that last sentence is what I want to talk about today. There's nothing for you to live up to. And this is such an important thing to completely get inside of your mind. There is nothing for you to live up to. And I'll explain this in 2 different methodologies. Number 1. Suppose I have a family lineage of living in Korea, which is kind of the case. But I live in America, and that was my choice. So am I letting down my family's family name's value of living in Korea? It's not. Now, suppose my father is an artist, then do I have to also be an artist? No. Suppose my grandfather was an artist. Do I have to be an artist? No. So the family name, right? The comparison right now is the three generations. My grandfather, my father, and me. But what if your grandfather and father are just exceptions? Who knows? Whether when you go down the further down the family tree, who knows if they were the exceptions or they were the thing. They were the kind of the same in the trend. There's really no way of knowing because all the people above and beyond the family tree have passed. So, depending on what I do, there is no notion of this responsibility and the mantle that I have to carry, because it's just individual choice, right? So, if I have a in my bloodline, if I have a criminal, then is being a criminal in my family name, then do I have to be a criminal as well? If one person in my lineage is a singer, then do I also have to be a singer? There's a lot of people with my last name in Korea who are entertainers. Then do I also have to be an entertainer? No. The family name is a really large thing. And right now, it's very highly likely that we are tunnel visioning into the immediate generations that we can only see. But even if you just go 1 or 2 generations above, you will find that it's just individual people's lives. There's nothing for you to live up to. Because, again, it's just individual choices. I actually think about this a lot because in K-pop, right? Recently, they're recruiting a lot more second-generation Koreans from Canada, United States, and Australia, the English-speaking countries. And the funny thing is, these people, these K-pop idols, their parents immigrated out of Korea because they wanted a better life. And now, their children are going back to Korea to become a singer. So it's this entire generation of immigration experience just like going down the drain, depending on your perspective, right? So in this case, the people, the K-pop idols, they're just pursuing this version of success that they want. But at the same time, are they betraying their parents? It's more nuanced than that, right? Are they tarnishing the family name? It's more nuanced than that, right? So, academics and professional success is one way of, I guess, honoring your lineage and honoring your family name. But life is so much more about that. And so, there is nothing for you to live up to. So that's one dimension of looking at it. Second dimension, I think, is a little bit more important. And I talked about this in a previous YouTube video. So I think if you search my YouTube channel for parents, you'll get a more in-depth discussion solely about that topic. Do parents exist for children? Or do children exist for parents? Parents exist for children. Because, number one, children literally cannot survive without them. Even the process of birth, if you're not there to go through it, they literally cannot be born. Babies cannot feed themselves. Babies cannot protect themselves. Parents, it is the role of parents to provide that care, that kind of care for the children. Now, let's explore the alternative. If children exist for parents, right? Then that means the children have no free will. The children are basically only existing to fulfill a certain kind of a purpose. So they aren't really lives, they're more like a utility tool. Now, suppose a parent thinks in terms of that kind of a line of thought. Regardless of how they think about their children, like they are tools, like they exist for your sole purpose. The thing is, children are human. And each human has their own free will. So, while there is nothing stopping the parents from expecting things, while there's nothing that stops the parents for desiring the children to be a certain way, there's nothing guaranteeing that that will be the case. Because why? You can't control other people. You can't control anything outside of yourself. For example, suppose I drink from time to time. I'm okay with spicy food. So suppose I really want my wife to eat a lot more spicy food and I want my wife to drink. Guess what? I can want that. But nothing guarantees that it will come true. And so the more I expect, and the more I demand, and the more I desire, the more suffering I just invite into my life, because again, it's not up to me. But if she does, it's a nice bonus for my life. So if I want that, I need to understand that, hey, it's okay if you don't do this. But if you do, that's nice. That's the kind of the low expectation and the low stakes kind of a situation that makes desire work. It's a very unattached kind of a desire, right? So, parents can raise children a certain way and demand a certain kind of a lifestyle for the children. But children have to understand, it is not your responsibility to be the type of person that your parents want you to be. It's not. If they really want it, they can be that. Because they have control of their own life. But they don't have control over your life. And the sooner you gain emotional independence from your parents, the more of an individual with the free will you become. So, there is nothing to live up to, because the expectation that you will live up to this hypothetical, this construct of a family name, is just a desire from another person, and that's it. For example, I can want you to be a singer. I can want you to be a K-pop idol. It's the same thing. So are you gonna let me down? Who cares if you let me down? It's your life. And that is the possibility. I'm not asking for like an instantaneous kind of a change. Oh, fuck yeah, now I'm like fully independent. No, I'm not advocating for that. But what I am saying is, the more these types of ideas start living in your head, the more you can start planting the seeds of your independence. And today, that's enough. Because any kind of a drastic, rapid change always comes about with a lot of side effects. So, think about the idea. There is nothing to live up to. And you will find that life suddenly becomes a lot more relaxing to live.